I have finally gotten around to checking out the brand new episode 2 Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 as we now have a better idea on what the bigger issue is going to be for the Enterprise crew this season. Let's go and do what we do best, talk about it with full spoilers. Before we do get into episode 5, I just want to quickly say that I didn't do a review on episode 4 for a couple of different reasons, but the main one was because I didn't really care for the episode. I like that we do get these spin-off episodes in the season, but this one specifically just didn't really hit with me that much, and I didn't really want to come on here and just bash on the episode. But thankfully, that episode was followed up with episode 5, which I really enjoyed. It was off to a rough start, if I'm being honest. I thought we were kind of going off in another spin-off episode as we were introduced a little bit more to Ensign Gamble, who was a main focus in this episode, but thankfully it ended up being a very important episode into what could be the main objective of this season. The majority of stuff that goes down in this episode I loved a lot because it really does scream classic Star Trek, how we are going out and experiencing different world and races and species and things that are hundreds and thousands of years old that are now impacting everything that we're seeing in the current timeline. I originally wasn't sure where it was really headed and how big of an impact it was actually going to have on our story. I kind of thought that it might end up being another spin-off episode, but I was completely wrong as it does feel like this is going to have a major impact on our characters on the ship and the overall story that's happening this season involving the Gorn. I'm really excited to learn more about that, how they might end up being rivals, the Gorn, and whatever other species that we did come into contact with this episode. But I think what stood out to me the most this episode is the landing party aspect, how they were trapped, let's call it a prison for now, and how they had to science their way out of it. I really enjoyed seeing Spock and Chapel and Uhura and the rest of the landing party try to figure their way out of the situation that they were in, because again, that is something that Star Trek has done so well for so many years. But by far, the biggest shock of the episode is when Gamble did make it out alive. They essentially had to unalive him to get the entity out of him and trap it, which completely surprised me that they were going that route. I'm not saying that Gamble was ever going to become a main character or have a huge impact, but it definitely felt like they were setting him up to at least have a larger role. But what makes it even worse is that Gamble has now died for essentially no reason, because we saw at the end of the episode that whatever was going on with Gamble has now infected the ship somehow. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier about the season-long conflict. It seems like this episode has now introduced us to what this crew is going to be dealing with for the full season. Not only is it Marie and the Gorn, but whatever is going on with the Gorn and whatever we met this episode, and what feels like a rivalry between the two species. Leave all your thoughts about Strange New World Season 3, Episode 5 in the comments below, and hit that follow button for more TV reviews just like this one.